I think the audio, video, everything is perfect, guys. Perfect. Perfect. So now let's begin. Let's continue the discussion of audit strategy, planning and program. Okay. So this particular chapter will have a weightage of minimum 9 to 12 marks. And you know what? This chapter is just 10 pages. Only 10 pages. 5 papers, both the sides, 10 pages. That's it. Very small chapter. But the weightage is close to minimum 9 marks to 12 marks. Why? Even though it's the smallest chapter, the weightage is very high. Like, why it is so? It's not the pages which is important. It's the complexity of the content which is most important. You know, in this chapter, the content is very complex. And in fact, most of the times till date, I never uploaded this topic as a revision on the YouTube. Till date, I never uploaded because I feel one of the very, patent. It's like I have a patent on this chapter because I decoded this chapter like anything. But for the first time, after the live is completed also the video will be remaining, don't worry at all. Okay, so fine. So but for the first time I'm doing this revision to make sure everyone benefited from this. So in this chapter there are 3 terms. What are the 3 terms that are there? Strategy, planning and program. Audit strategy, audit planning and audit program. Yes, audit program is very important. Every topic in this chapter is equally important. Are it 10 pages chapter? Yeah, any question can come from this. Any topic can be tested from this. Now, so audit strategy, planning and program. Basically, this chapter is nothing but SA 300 standard. What is SA 300 standard? You can see here SA 300, planning and audit of financial statement. You see the word used is planning. Planning and audit of financial statements, whereas the chapter heading is what? Strategy, planning and program. Okay, planning of an audit of financial statements. What do you mean by planning? Planning includes 3 terms: strategy, plan, program. Audit strategy, audit plan, audit program. All the 3 we will call it as planning. So this is the most important thing. Now first, the most important thing, what are the elements of planning? What are the elements of planning? There are 2 elements in planning. Just a minute. Yeah, there are 2 elements in planning. One, preliminary engagement activity. One is preliminary engagement activity, one of the element of planning. Remember, I'm not talking about planning activity. Planning activity is another element of planning. There are 2 elements of planning. One, preliminary engagement activity. 2, planning activities. Planning activities includes 2 more. One is establishing strategy, another one development of an audit plan. So strategy establishment, development of an audit plan, both are together, we call it as planning activities. Preliminary engagement activity is one of the planning activity. Now, what are preliminary engagement activities? Here I am going to cover. What are preliminary engagement activities? Here I am going to cover. Now, so this understanding is very important. Now, what is the difference between strategy, plan and program? Even though the chapter heading is planning, okay, I actually call it as plan. Audit plan, audit strategy, audit plan, audit program. Audit strategy is never visible in the form of a document. Audit strategy is nothing but in the mindset of the auditor. In the mind of the auditor, what is he thinking about? How he is going to do the audit as a whole? That is strategy. Whereas audit plan, audit program, they both will be in a documented format. Audit plan will be documented, audit program will also be documented. Generally, strategy you will not find any documentation. Strategy is like a preliminary thinking of the auditor. Whatever the auditor is thinking about how to do this audit, what to do in this audit, that is preliminary thinking. Now this entire process, whether you call it as strategy, whether you call it as plan, whether you call it as program, this entire process is called as audit planning. This entire process is called as audit planning. Now, many times in exam they have asked this question: what are the benefits of planning? 4 marks question, 5 marks question. Benefits of planning means what? Many students here, what they think, benefits of audit plan. That's wrong. Plan is different, strategy is different, program is different, planning is different. Planning means everything. Designing a strategy, development of a strategy, development of a plan, development of a program, all are elements of planning. They're all part of the planning. Now look at benefits of planning activities. What are planning activities? Planning is important so that you will do timely execution. Yes or no? And it ensures compliance with standards, enhances the audit engagement. Whatever the audit you are conducting, the quality will be enhanced. Planning ensures you comply with various auditing standards. Planning will help you to effectively and efficiently do a timely execution. So that is what importance. Benefits what? It helps you to focus on important areas. Audit planning benefits the auditor to focus on important areas. Most important question this is. Planning will help you to identify and resolve potential problems. So all potential problems you can resolve, and it will help you to organize and manage the audit for efficiency and effectiveness. It will help you in assisting the team members with appropriate competence. It facilitates direction, supervision, review of team members. It will help you to coordinate branch auditors, experts, all that, internal auditors, branch auditors, experts. Coordination is a benefit of planning. It helps you to facilitate, it helps you to direct, supervise and review team members' work. It helps you to select team members with the right competences. It helps you to organize and manage the audit so that you can do an efficient and effective audit. It helps you to identify potential problems in timely manner. Remember, this is planning benefits. Planning means what? Entire strategy, audit plan, audit program, whatever thing you take, they're all part of planning process. Generally, planning benefits are what? That's why here many students confuse. Sir, suppose we have another topic called advantages of program. We have another question called advantages of overall audit strategy. We have two more topics. How overall audit strategy assists the auditor, how strategy benefits the auditor. 2, how program benefits the auditor. In those two also, some of these points will be repeated. That is where many students confuse. Sir, in audit strategy chapter, many points are confusing. Why in planning some points are repeated there? How to remember? No need to worry. Planning is a overall. Whereas audit strategy is a very normal term. Audit program is a very narrow term. These two are narrow. Planning is a wide term. Planning includes everything. That's it. This is the main difference. Okay. Next. So if at all you are doing a proper planning, if at all you are planning the audit in an efficient manner, you can reduce the audit risk to an acceptable low level. You can reduce the risk to low level. Okay, that's it. Now again coming back. So what are the elements of planning? 2. One is preliminary engagement activity, and another one is planning activity include overall audit strategy establishment, plan establishment. Now preliminary engagement activity, 3 activities are mainly called as preliminary engagement. 1, acceptance and continuation of client relationship. This is there in 220. This point is explaining 220. What do you mean by acceptance and continuation of client relationship? The firm, the audit firm, whoever is doing audit, getting it, before they accept a client, before they accept an engagement with an existing client. See, there are 2 things, new client or existing client. From a new client, you are accepting new engagement from new client, or before accepting new engagement from existing client. Suppose existing client I have, for whom I am already doing company audit. The existing client is asking me to do income tax audit also. Means I am going to accept new engagement from existing client. Or existing client, I completed 5 years audit. The existing client is asking me, sir, can you accept for next 5 years also appointment? Then continuation of an existing engagement with existing client. So 1, new engagement from new client. 2, new engagement from existing client. 3, continuation of existing engagement with existing client. If any of these 3 proposals came to you, what a firm has to consider? So those points are covered under acceptance and continuation of client relationship. So before accepting or before continuing the engagement, 4 points you need to get. Integrity of the owners. Get integrity. Look at their integrity. How are they? Like, are they honest people? What is the reputation? How far they are they are honoring accounting standards. What is their business practices? How is their treatment with the auditors? Discussing with previous auditors. All that comes under what? Integrity of the principal owners. Are there any raids going on? Are there any issues going on? So get that information. Integrity of the owners. Competence of the team members to perform. See, before I accept a client, first I will say, is he good guy? Is the client a honest guy? Second thing, he is asking me to do some work, right? Can I do that work? Suppose if a bank is asking me to do a bank audit, I don't have experience at all in bank audit. I will not do. So second important thing before I accept a client, what should I check is competence of my team members. Whether do I have competence, competence of the engagement team. Third one, any matters arising during current or previous engagement. Suppose if my existing client is asking me to take a new work, or my existing client is asking me to continue the work, getting it? So I will look into matters which are there in the current and previous. And for initial audit engagement, previous auditor also I need to communicate. First time they're asking me, then I will also communicate with their previous auditor. So preliminary engagement activities, one of the basic thing that you need to do at the beginning stage of the audit before you accept the audit is first one, acceptance and continuation. Second one, compliance with ethical requirements. Third one, establishing terms. First one, do procedures as per 220. First do procedures as per 220, then check ethical requirements, then do procedures as per SA 210. Sir, what is SA 210? I already covered it in part 1 audit marathon. Establishing understanding of the terms of engagement. Now establishing terms, send an engagement letter before starting the audit to avoid misunderstanding, and see that there is no confusion with the client regarding the terms. What are terms of engagement? Terms of engagement are what? Objective and scope of audit, management responsibility, auditor responsibility, financial reporting framework, audit reporting. These are all various contents of the engagement letter, right? So get an acknowledgement on these elements. Then ethical requirements. Auditor has to, in fact there is a chapter, ethics and terms of engagement. We have a chapter in ICA, it is 11th chapter, whereas in our GOAT notes it is 2nd chapter. Continuously evaluate compliance with ethical requirements, including independence. The engagement partner means what? The one who is going to sign the audit report ultimately. The engagement partner shall remain alert for evidence of non-compliance with ethical requirements. In case of non-compliance, please take appropriate action. Engagement partner shall form conclusion on compliance of independence. This is very important topic, ma. One of the important in requirement in a planning activities, relevant ethical requirements, compliance with relevant ethical requirements. They may ask you this itself as a 5 marks question. Continuously you should evaluate compliance with ethical requirements. In case of non-compliance, engagement partner shall be remain alert to see whether there is any non-compliance. If there is any non-compliance with with ethical requirements, take appropriate. For example, non-compliance with ethical requirement means, for example, I accepted one company audit. In that company, my relative has shareholding more than 1 lakh. What should I do? So these are all non-compliant. What should I do? So that's it. Now, engagement partner shall form conclusion on compliance. So how will you conclude whether the firm is complying with independence or not? Whether an audit firm, whether the team members, are they complying with independence or not? How do you conclude? First, obtain information to identify threats. I will ask all the partners, my team members, whether do they have any shares in the company like that. I will evaluate identified breaches of the firm independent policies. Our firm will have SQC policies will be there. Quality control manuals will be there. Quality control system will be there. Independence related policies will be there. Ethical requirement policies will be there. With those policies and rules, I will check. Take appropriate action to eliminate the threat. Suppose if any threat is there, I will try to eliminate the threat, or I will reduce it to acceptable level. And I will report to the firm in case of unresolved matters. Even after applying resolution, if at all I am unable to resolve some threats, I will report it to the firm's main CEO. Firm's managing partner will be there. To him I will be reporting. Sir, what is firm's managing partner, firm's CEO, all that? We have never seen these words. It is there in SQC. It is there in SQC. That's it. So this is a preliminary engagement activity. So sometimes in exam, this itself they'll ask you as a 5 marks question. What are preliminary engagement activity? You need to write the settings and 2 points. Write the settings, 2 points. Write the setting, 2 points. Sometimes in exams, only relevant ethical requirements they will ask. Sometimes in exam, only acceptance and continuation of client relationship point alone they will be asking. So be careful. These are planning. What do you mean by planning? I told you what is the benefit of planning, what are the elements of planning, what are the planning activities, what are preliminary engagement. This is one of the elements of planning, right? Now tell me, planning is a continuous process. It's not a one-time process. Like, I will plan audit at the beginning. As I proceed further, if at all I find some changes are required, I will change it. So planning is not a one time, it's a continuous process. Planning is not a discrete, it is not a separate phase in audit. It's there throughout the audit. It's a continuous and repetitive, iterative process. So generally planning begins after completion of previous audit and continue until completion of the current audit. Once I complete previous audit in the same company, I will immediately start working about the next year audit. Then the audit plan should be reviewed periodically to ensure that any newly identified areas will not be missed. Now, what are the considerations in planning? What you will consider when you're planning? Obviously, considerations in planning. Again, here, no, you will find another question. What points you will consider while developing audit strategy? What points you will consider while developing audit plan? What points you will consider while developing a program? Like this, you will find 3 more questions. This is considerations in planning, considerations in strategy, considerations in program, considerations in plan. There are 3 more ways. That is why even though the chapter is less than 10 pages, even though the high weightage is very high, there are high chances that if this question is asked, a student might write some other answer. That is the reason why this chapter is very complex. Even though you read number of times, you will not understand. So this is one of the very severe chapter, very tough chapter in the CA Intro Audit. I can say in CA Intro Audit, there are 2 toughest chapters. One is strategy topic, which is very toughest. Another one, risk assessment. But risk assessment is very lengthy chapter. That's the reason I always tell students to leave it. Don't even touch that. Especially in risk assessment, no internal control part is there. That is very tough. Leave it. Okay, fine. Planning. Anyhow, this planning chapter I'm revising you now thoroughly, where I'm giving you crystal clear clarity what exactly the terms are. Now, so what are the considerations? So when you're planning, no, whether you're developing strategy, plan, program, leave it aside. You want to plan an audit of a client. You want to conduct an audit of a particular company. What are all you should consider when you're planning the audit? Understand the legal environment, regulatory environment applicable to the entity. What is the legal and regulatory framework applicable? Okay. See whether any analytical processes can be applied or not. Determine materiality for that particular client. See whether any expert assistance is required or not, especially when we are doing audit of insurance companies, when we are doing audit of electricity companies, when we do audit of any some oil companies, we generally take the help of experts. Perform risk assessment to identify risk. So these are all the points, these are all the things that you need to consider when you're planning an audit of financial statements. Then tell me, when you're planning, will auditor engage? See, engagement partner is the one who will sign the audit report ultimately. Will he only plan the entire audit, or will he involve some team members also? Will he discuss will he discuss with somebody else? Yes, obviously. You can't develop plan isolatedly. You have to discuss with management. You have to discuss with your team members. Like, your team is what going to do the audit. So, see, ultimate responsibility for planning is with the engagement partner, no doubt. Partner is only ultimately responsible because the client appointed the firm and the partner has to sign the audit report. So partner is only ultimately responsible for planning, sole responsibility. But even though you have 100% responsibility, you should discuss certain points when you are planning the audit. Whether it's a strategy forming, plan development, program development, when you are developing the plan, program, strategy, all that, when you're doing the audit, you should consult various people. So what are they? Involvement of the engagement team. First, I will involve my team members. Like, why? The engagement partner and key team members, important team members must be involved in planning the audit, and discussions must be there among the team members. Their involvement increases effectiveness and efficiency of audit, through their experience and insight. So when I involve my team members, I will know whether they can be able to work on particular matter or not. Accordingly, I can allocate the work according to their competences, experience, all that. That's why I should not develop the plan without discussing with my team members. My team members must be there when I'm planning the audit. Remember, only partner is not doing the audit. Entire team members as well as partner together, they're doing the audit. Then not only that, I should also discuss with management of the client. Client management also I should discuss. I should discuss with them when I'm developing my plan, everything. I should discuss with them also. When I'm planning the audit, I should discuss. Why? You should tell the client, when are you going to come for audit? What are all the points that you are going to verify briefly? Remember, you don't have to discuss in depth. The auditor may discuss planning elements with company's management to facilitate. They can facilitate you then only. Suddenly overnight you decided tomorrow you went for audit. The corresponding accountant is absent in the company. What you will do? So ensure that discussions do not compromise effectiveness of audit. Do not compromise. See, how are you going to verify? Purchases, how are you going to verify? Sales, how are you going to verify? Inventory, how are you going to verify? Don't tell them how are you going to do the work. Tell them that I want to do the work on so and so date, so and so time. What you will verify inside that? No need to tell them. Matters related to surprise checks. Matters related to surprise checks should not be included in the discussion. Obviously, when you're discussing with the client, you shouldn't. Now see, you are involving your team member, you're involving client management. Just because you're involving them, will they also be responsible for planning? Not at all. They are not responsible for planning. Who is responsible for planning? The auditor is ultimately responsible for strategy, plan, everything. The auditor may discuss elements of planning with the management. However, make sure that audit is not compromised. That's it. So one of the main segment in this topic is covered. Planning means what we understood. Now planning includes three elements. Planning includes three parts: strategy making, plan development, program development. Now what do you mean by strategy? Look at this. What do you mean by audit strategy? First of all, audit strategy is something that sets scope of the audit, timing of the audit, direction of the audit, and guides the development of an audit plan. Generally, strategy is in the mind of the auditor. Generally, strategy will not be visible. Strategy will be like a descriptive. Okay, audit strategy covers so many things. So strategy sets scope of the audit. Okay, so look, we are bank branch auditors. For a particular bank, for a particular some 5 or 6 branches only, we are the auditor. Scope, 5 branches. Timing, we need to finish this audit by April 10th, for example. The client appointed us in somewhere in September, October. So we need to finish audit and then give the report by April 10th. So some 20 days time only we have. Direction of the audit, we need to do audit in the context of statutory audit as per RBI guidelines, like that. Overall audit strategy assists the auditor in various ways. Like how strategy will help the auditor. Strategy will help me to identify resources to deploy, use of experienced team members, involvement of experts on complex matter, assigning resources to specific audit areas. Just a minute. Yeah. Review of other auditors' work, allocating audit budget, deciding when the resources are to be deployed. Resources means what? Manpower. In audit, no. For auditors, what is the resources? Manpower. And interim stage, key cutoff stage, all that. Management of resources. Generally, no. In the initial stages of audit, no, I may do audit with 8 or 9 members, for example. But at the cutoff date, as on 31st March, because I need to finalize the audit, I want 15 team members. So timing of resources. Initially, quarterly, we will do quarterly audits. That time only 5-6 members are required. But at the time of completion of audit, finalization, every team member, 15 members has to come, like that. Management, see, these are all various benefits, ma. These are all various benefits of strategy. Strategy means what? Briefly, what should I do? Okay. I need to do audit as per Companies Act stat audit. I need to comply with accounting standards. I need to verify whether the financials are prepared as per accounting standard. My objective is to give an opinion. Okay. Briefly, I require some 30-40 days of time. And this overall view is called as what? Strategy. Then management of resources. Actually, in our normal class, no, we discuss more in depth with various examples, all that. Okay, but here it's a revision class, since I can't discuss at that level now. So management. So how strategy benefits? Strategy benefits auditor in identifying the resources, in allocating the resources, in deciding the timing of resources, and management of resources. Resources to deploy. What resources are required? Where to deploy? Allocation, when to deploy, and as a whole, management of resources. Okay, so like scheduling meetings, team briefing and debriefing meetings. Team meetings will be there. Determining how reviews by partners and managers will occur. So like our team will be working in the client premises, right? When should I review the work, and whether to complete quality control reviews or not. In SQs, for listed companies, audit engagements, review, quality control reviews compulsory. So when this should happen, all these points I will get to know only when I'm developing a strategy. So strategy making helps the auditor in these many ways. Any 4 sub points, these are all various sub points. Any 4 or 5. Okay, so they may ask you, many times they have asked, what are the how overall audit strategy assist the auditor? How overall audit strategy assist, how it will be beneficial to the auditor? Remember, benefits of planning, that is different. Benefits of audit strategy, the answer is different. Be careful. There is a high possibility that student might write a same answer. Again, we have another question, advantages of program. Later we have another concept called program, audit program. There also we have a discussion called advantage of program. So be careful. Next. So when I'm developing a strategy, what factors I should consider? There are 5 factors that we consider. One, Characteristics of the engagement that define the scope. So when I'm developing a strategy, first I should see the characteristics of the engagement. Is it a stat auditor, internal auditor, stat audit? For example, it's a stat audit. Is it a normal company, a bank, insurance? These are all we call it as characteristics of the engagement. Reporting objectives. Reporting objectives is different. Reporting requirement is different. Reporting standards are different. Reporting objectives, this is nothing but communication objectives. This is nothing but communication objectives. Here SA 260 standard will help you. Then, you know, where significant factors in directing. So in every audit, no, my team will be focusing on certain areas where there are some risks. So significant factors in directing team efforts. In the recent Jan 25, on this one question came, 5 marks question, telecommunication company, digital database, like that one question came in Jan 25. On this only they asked. The question is so practical, so depth, like only students who understand this topic conceptually can figure out the answer. Fine, anyhow, I'll come back. And results of preliminary engagement. What is preliminary engagement activity? I told acceptance and continuation of client relationship, establishing terms of engagement, compliance with relevant ethical requirements. These are all preliminary. That preliminary engagement activity when you are performing in a client, you will get to know some information. That also you should consider while developing your audit strategy. So when you're developing an audit strategy, you should consider preliminary engagement activities. You should consider, you should identify where your team efforts has to be directed. And you should also consider reporting objectives. You should consider characteristics of the engagement. Finally, you should consider what is the nature of resources, timing of resources, extent of resources required for the audit. So nature, timing, extent of resources required for audit, that also you should consider. Now look at that. So characteristics of the engagement that define its scope. Characteristics of the engagement means what? What is the financial reporting framework applicable? For banks, financial reporting framework is different. Insurance company, financial reporting framework is different, like that. And specialized knowledge. See the nature of business, what business client is involved in, whether do you require to have a specialized knowledge. What are the industry specific reporting requirements? Whether can you use evidence obtained from previous audits or not. Reporting engagements. Reporting objectives. What is reporting objectives? Plan timing of procedures and communication. When you should, for example, physical verification of inventory, you should generally plan on 31st March. Okay, timing of procedures. And communications, you should frequently update the client what is the status of the audit. So what is the entity's reporting timetable? For example, for a listed company, if I'm auditor, I should give quarterly review reports. Then I should give annually one audit report. So entity's reporting timetable, get it. And organize meetings for discussing nature and timing extent of audit work with management. Discussions with management on type of the reports and timing of the reports. For example, if you're doing a bank audit, in bank audit also you have one question. What are various reports? A bank auditor will give various reports. Ask the management. Communications with management about status of the work. Nature and timing of communication among team members. My team is performing work right, audit right. I should check their work right. When should I check? How should I check? Nature and timing of communication among the team members, including meetings and reviews. These are all called as reporting objectives. Further, I will identify MCOT, SCOT or MCOT, significant class of transaction, SCOT, MCOT, material class of transactions, both are same. Material class of transaction, ABs, account balances and disclosures. Identify what are all the material transactions in this company, material balances and material disclosures, and direct team efforts to significant matters. Those significant transactions, significant balance are there, right? Give your team attention to those matters. Like what are significant class of transaction? Look at the transaction volume. Look at the transaction volume affecting reliance on internal control, significant industry development, changes in financial reporting framework, changes in legal environment, significant industry development, changes in legal environment. This is what they tested in the Jan 2025 as a practical question. Some telecom regulatory has given some instructions to telecom companies where they need to maintain digital database of some customers or something like that. They gave a question. So practical question. That's it. Next, preliminary. Results of past audit, emphasis of the team, all that. This is a normal thing. So in this, these 3 points are very important. First 3. This itself can be asked as a 4 marks question. This itself can be asked as a 4 marks question, or this third point itself can be asked as a 4 marks question. Anyway, they can ask. Be careful. Next. Once you develop a strategy, what do you mean by planning? We understood. What is a strategy? We understood. How to develop the strategy? We understood. What are the advantages of strategy? We understood. Now plan. Now you need to develop the plan. What is a plan? I'll tell you how a plan looks like. Okay, generally I use ChatGPT all that in the class, but here I don't have time. So plan means what? Serial number, audit area, okay. For example, risk assessment procedure, team member Mr. A, who is an engagement partner, timing, some 2 days required, instructions, extent, nature, timing, extent, like this. No, we will list out opening balance verification, purchases, sales, fixed assets, depreciation, like that we will list out. We will allocate the work, like this we will develop some document. This document is called as an audit plan. Okay, audit. So SA 300, what 300 standard says, the audit plan should include risk assessment procedure. The audit plan should include further audit procedure. So not only risk assessment, further audit. Just a minute. Yeah, I think yeah, it is smooth. Perfect. Yeah, no problem. So nature, timing and extent of risk assessment, nature, timing, extent of further audit procedure at assertion level, other planned procedures, okay, to ensure compliance with standards on auditing, and plans for type, timing, scope of audit, including sampling and work allocation, everything has to be considered. Audit plan should include description of this itself, 4 marks question. The audit plan must contain description of the following. What audit plan should contain? What description audit plan should contain? Audit plan should contain risk assessment, audit plan should contain further audit plan should contain any other planned procedures, and not only that, you should plan type, timing, scope of audit. What type of audit procedure you need to do, when you should do, scope, including whether it should be done on a sampling basis, how work allocation must be done, everything will be covered here. That's it. I hope everyone, it's cool, it's smooth, I hope. Yeah, perfect. So the audit plan is more detailed than strategy. Remember, MCQs is important. Focusing on specific procedures to be performed by team members. In audit plan, no, specifically what we need to do, that only will be major point. Planning occurs over the course of audit with specific stages. In planning, no, first we do risk assessment, then we do further audit procedures. Sometimes, no, further audit procedures will do immediately for some transactions, whereas for some other transactions, planning only we will do. So simultaneously we will do actual audit for some transaction, for some class of transaction we will not even start the audit. For them, planning might be going on simultaneously. Next, what is the relationship between overall audit strategy and audit plan? Audit strategy sets broad overall approach to audit, what exactly overall we need to do, whereas plan talks about specific matters, specific issues, how to do audit of purchases, how to do audit of sales, how to do audit of that. So that is what planning. So audit strategy determines the scope of audit, timing of the audit, direction, whereas audit plan describes how strategy is implemented. There is another word called program. Program is even more detailed. For example, in strategy I understood that I should cover purchase. When should I cover purchase? On purchases I should do risk assessment, further audit, all that is plan. In purchases, what points I should verify, each and every point I will list it out. That is program. Next, audit plan is more detailed than strategy, which includes nature, timing, extent of procedures. Development of an audit plan. Planning of an audit occurs throughout the audit as plan develops and adapts to the engagement. Obviously, planning itself is a continuous activity. Therefore, plan development is also continuous. Plan is not developed overnight. Once audit strategy is established, audit plan is developed. Establishing audit strategy and development of audit plan are not separate but are interrelated process, where changes in one will automatically affect the changes in others. So audit strategy and plan, no, may not be a separate process. They can be one and same. That's why in reality you don't find strategy separately. Plan itself is a strategy document, plan itself is a plan. That's it. Changes to planning. Obviously, the auditor shall update and change overall audit strategy, audit plan as and when necessary. Why you need to change? Unexpected events. Suddenly, no, when we go to the client warehouse, we found some new inventory. That new inventory we don't have in our plan, so we will have to add it. Changes in condition. New information discovered. Changes in strategy and plan ensures that audit remains effective and revised. Audit plan should be dynamic and flexible. Therefore, modifications can be made. Example, audit evidence from detailed checking may contradict evidence from testing internal control, prompting changes to the plan. So when I'm doing transaction actual checking, no, substantive procedure, I may find so many mistakes. Originally, I thought internal controls are very effective. Now, when I find so many transactions where controls are failed, so I may have to change my control assumptions. Okay, fine. Let me not discuss so in depth again here. Fine. Now, planning, supervision, and review of work of team members. Remember, audit strategy plan planning activities means what? How to do this audit, when to do this audit, when to so and so process, when to perform, all that, right? How to allocate resources, all that, right? Now, I should not only plan how to do the work, I should also plan, yeah. So I should also plan to review my team members' work also. My team members will be working, right, in audit. I should also plan when should I review this. Suppose you might have remember engagement quality control review, UQCR, engagement quality control review. When that review should happen, that also I should plan. Yes, the auditor shall plan. The auditor shall plan nature, timing, extent of direction, supervision, and review of the team members. To what extent direction, supervision, and review will happen? It depends upon size and complexity of the entity. It depends upon what audit area. It depends upon assessed risk. It depends upon capability of the team members. If my team members are very capable and competent, I rarely review. I will review at the end of the audit. If my team members are new, they don't have any idea, I will review them very frequently. So nature, direction, supervision, review of the engagement partner. The direction by the partner, supervision by the partner, review by the partner depends upon these factors. This itself can be asked as a 4 marks question. Be careful. And most important, documentation. In the recent exam, this also they have asked for 5 marks question. Documentation part in Jan 25 exam, they have asked this. You know why you need to document? It's a record of key decisions regarding planning. Facilitates communication with the team member on important issues. Records planned nature, timing, extent of risk assessment, and here it is further. Here it is further audit procedure. Then documentation includes overall strategy, audit plan, and changes to the plan. And remember, it's a record of significant changes. Explains why changes were made. Like why? What is the reason? Originally you thought of 10 days, right? Why you increased it to 15 days? Reflects the final strategy and plan adopted. Oh, you know, changes and all you record, right? So automatically the audit plan, whatever you're documenting, is the final version. Shows appropriate response to changes during the audit. So originally how we planned, later how we changed it. So all that information will be there. That's it. So this is documentation of the audit plan. This itself has been asked as a 5 marks question. Remember, I need to cover in a revision class, I need to cover in a shortest time. So I can't give so many logics and all. Okay, in our actual class, we'll be discussing very in depth this particular chapter, where we'll discuss so many issues. We will be repeating all this. But remember that this is a revision video. So if any of you feel like you're not able to understand some points, remember that this is a revision video. I'm trying my level best. It's very stressful for me to compress the entire content in shortest amount of time, so that your time will be saved, so that you will focus on reading it again and again. Then the next topic in this chapter is program. What is an audit program? Audit program is a detailed plan. Plan is a detailed strategy. Program is a detailed plan. Simple. And all these three are called as planning activities. Now, so audit program is a detailed plan comprising series of verification steps to be applied, okay, to gather sufficient appropriate evidence so that you can form an opinion. So audit plan, no, it gives you, program will give you instructions. Purchases, verify purchase order, verify GRN, verify so and so, verify receipt, verify vendor master. Like that, so many points you need to verify each team member. That's a program. Okay. Now, can one program be there for all the clients, for all the businesses? Not possible, because every business has different processes. So evolving one audit program is not practicable for all businesses. Nature, size, and composition of business vary. Obviously every business size will vary, nature will vary. Yes or no? Internal controls are different in every business. Nature of services rendered by auditors varies from one assignment to another assignment. So necessary of tailored program. So for each business you need to have a tailored, you need to customize the program. You can have one standard program, but you need to customize it as per the requirements of each client. So tailored program will prevent time wastage on irrelevant matters. So tailored program means what? For each client, specific program has to be developed. Address special situations. Ensure audit program is aligned to specific circumstance. So you should align the program as per the specific circumstance of the client. So assistance, I should tell my team members, my articles and all, keep an open mind. Program, I told you 10 points to verifying purchase. Suppose when you're verifying purchases, you found some 11th point, immediately please come and tell me. So the auditor frames a standard program considering nature of the company, size of the company, composition of the business, and dependability of the internal. So after studying a particular company, for that company I will develop one program, so that my team member will follow the program, so that quality of work can be enhanced. At the same time, I should tell my team member, don't only blindly follow the program. If you find some changes are required, please immediately come back and tell me. This program gives you a minimum work only. Audit program is only giving a minimum guidance. That is not exhaustive. Alterations. As experience is gained, the program may be altered. Some work which may be irrelevant may be deleted. So assistants must be encouraged to keep an open mind beyond the given program, note and report significant matters to seniors and partners of the firm. So program has to be reviewed periodically. Audit program should undergo regular review to ensure that it is adequate. Changes in the client business policy may render. Sometimes original at the beginning of the audit, I might have thinking the client is so and so, but as we started the audit, the client would have changed some businesses, he would have added some new products, so program also shall be changed accordingly. So an obsolete program lead to negligent audit work and lead to legal consequences. And contents of the program. Besides listing tasks to be performed, the program shall include instructions. What is the extent of checking, sampling plan, all that. Until officially updated by principal, the team members and all strictly has to follow the program. Concerns about rigidity or not true. Obviously, since program will list out what are all you need to do, each and every step will be listed in program. Obviously, people will feel that it is rigid. Rigidity will be there, but periodic review will be conducted to ensure that it is up to date. So keeping the program up to date ensures it is flexibility and relevance. So when you're developing a program, what points you should keep in mind? So what points you should keep in mind when you're developing the program? Audit planning starts after previous year audit. We already saw this point. Audit plan will be reviewed and modified during the audit based on the internal controls, preliminary evaluation, compliance with the compliance and substantive internal controls and substantive procedure. Timing and coordination. When you're developing a program, timing of the procedure you should consider. Coordination of client assistance. See whether assistants are available. See experts requirement is there. Other auditor requirement is there. On certain processes, auditor do not have discretion on timing. For example, on certain processes, no, you don't have discretion. For example, physical verification of inventory, you generally will do on 31st March only. So what are the key points in program construction? 3 marks. Stay within the scope of the assignment. Don't check something which is not relevant in your audit. Prepare a written audit program to implement the plan. Identify best evidence reasonably available. Include any one relevant step. For example, identify best evidence. For debtors and creditors, best evidence is third party confirmation. For bank loans and balances, best evidence is banker confirmation. So identify for each audit procedure what is the best evidence. That's it. And specify the audit objectives and detail instructions for assistance. Try to identify what kind of errors are possible. Accordingly develop the program. Coordinate procedures for various interrelated items. And what are various broad types of evidences available? Documentary evidence. Physically you will get an evidence. Arithmetical calculations is one way of getting an evidence. Internal controls and checks. Minutes books is one way of evidence. Statements from third parties is one way of evidence. Explanations from management's officials. This is what we call it as written representations as per 580. That's it. Cash in hand. What is the best evidence? Physical count. Investments pledged with the bank. What is the best evidence? Banker's certificate. Debtors, what is the best evidence? There are so many. Client's ledger, invoice, credit note, all that, balance confirmation, many evidences are possible. Then advantages of the program. Here you will find some benefits of planning. Same benefits of planning points you will find. A clear set of instructions. Program will give you a clear set of instructions. It gives a total perspective for major audit. Selection of assistants based on capabilities becomes easier. Reduces risk of ignoring records, reduces. Assistants accept responsibility by signing the program. And monitoring progress, assist the auditor in monitoring the audit. It will help you to audit subsequent years. It acts as an evidence of due diligence. Okay, in case auditor was complained, that client complained on the auditor that auditor did not perform the work carefully, so auditor can prove, see, this is a program, this is how we worked, like that. Then disadvantages. Since program is rigid, inefficient people, like for example, work may become mechanical. Program sometimes may become rigid and inflexible. Continued use of outdated program may overlook changes in the business. So program has to be updated. That is the reason we have to update the program. Especially inefficient articles, they might defend their work deficiencies. They will say, I will ask my article, why you did not verify so and so point. He will say, that is not covered in program, no. So like that. So rigid program kill the initiative among the team members. So that's why you need to take certain precautions. Supervise the work to ensure that they understand the program objectives and avoid blind following. Foster receptive environment. Encourage assistants to observe objectively and report. So that's why you need to tell the team, look, this is a program for purchases. You have to do exactly audit as per this program. At the same time, I should also tell him, also see whether in reality in the client, do you find any 11th or 12th point? If so, please report me. Now, extract of sample audit program pertaining to sales of an entity. So vouch a few sales invoices, see, this is a sales, how to extent of check, what is the sample, who has done the work, who will review, all that, this is a program example. This is how a program looks like. Now in exceptional questions, we have some questions on program chapter. So let me go to the program chapter, exceptional questions. So audit strategy program, I think I think in this there are no exceptional questions. I think all were covered as part of this. In this chapter there is no exceptional questions as such. That's it. In Jan 25 2 questions were there, both are exceptional questions in Jan 25. That alone you read. Okay, that's it. Actually not required. Here itself I already covered. This is more than sufficient. So I hope I have given you a detail, at least a decent clarity through this 45 minutes revision. In our actual class, we'll be discussing this chapter for 2.5 to 3 hours, where it will be much more exhaustive. So, but since considering it's a revision class, I can't give much in depth because I have to save your time. With the very reason why many students watch revision is come up with another chapter later. That's it. I hope you're clear with audit strategy, plan and program. I think that main clarity you got right at the beginning itself. I gave you clarity. Planning means everything. Planning activity means everything. So in this chapter, planning means what, strategy means what, plan means what, program means what. Like that 4 parts the chapter is divided mainly. That's it. Okay, I hope you thoroughly got a decent clarity on this chapter. Something that you don't have earlier, I hope you have got clarity now on this particular topic. That's it. Okay, now you understood, even though the chapter is very small, why the weightage is very high. It's very small, but it's very tough. It's not that easy chapter at all, very tough. But if you continuously read thoroughly, revise thoroughly with a proper clarity, there is a high possibility that you will write very right answer. That's it. That's it. Okay, take care guys. Thank you.